What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Final Whistle. I'm Danny, joined alongside my guy, as always, Nathan Osler. Nate, got to talk a lot of sports today. Got to recap the draft, NBA playoffs. A lot of stuff has gone on since we last recorded on last Friday, since round one of the NFL draft, which is what commenced.
Shedeur got picked
Shedeur did get picked
by the Browns, just not when I said.
What's just a terrible pick out of them. I guess he did get picked, but I gotta ask you a question here. You're a Twitter guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a Twitter guy.
You're always around. So I'm new to Twitter. I was on there, and you see the debate. Pretty famous debate right now on Twitter.
Of course.
100 men versus one gorilla. Who wins in a fight? Arena style. It's like the Coliseum, and you got yourself 100 dudes and then a gorilla. Who's coming out?
I've seen those all the time.
What's your take on this?
Like, I'm taking the 100 people.
Obviously. Now, I got a lot of friends that are like, no, the
It's
gorilla
easy.
would just wipe it easily.
You don't have to run one in at a time.
Exactly. You're getting them all.
If that was the case, then sure. But
yeah, you're not lining up. Like, first of all, this gorilla is smoked. But I started thinking, let me make my own personal roster because 100, I only need 50. I only need 50 people that I assemble. I can handpick 50 people to beat this gorilla. I got the best roster that you could possibly make. Current athletes. I'm not taking like a Ray Lewis, washed.
Okay.
I don't want a Ray Lewis. He's washed, can't play, knees don't work. Give me 50 current people right now. I can smoke this gorilla with 50.
If you say someone
I might even be able to get through 30 and be like, yeah, this gorilla's cooked.
If you say someone I agree with, I'll of course agree, give some thoughts. And then if you forget people that I have in the top of my head, I'm going to tell you. But I like where you're going with. You're not looking at former guys. I might do it differently and say someone in their prime, but someone I've at least been alive to watch. But yeah, go right ahead. You think so you have a list of 50 that you
can talk. Literally only need 50.
Okay.
All right. Let me screen share here. I made a Google Doc.
Now, is this across all sports or just football?
This is sports. This is all sports. All right.
Understood. Let me fix this. Here you go.
Hold on. I was trying to pull up my Google Doc. It didn't work. Share screen. Aha. Got it. All right.
Okay.
First person. This is, and I started off in order of who who I want going after this gorilla. Not in order, but like if this was like a draft. Like if I got to draft these dudes.
Okay.
Coming off the board at number 1.
This is your top guy.
This is this is the guy who I think is like we don't throw him in at 1. We throw this dude in at like 10, 15. Like while this gorilla's like kind of getting a little worn out.
Before you show, I want to know if it's I'm curious if it's the person I'm thinking of. Can I take a guess? Yep.
Aaron
you
Donald.
have my first 2 actually.
Yep. Aaron Donald is, dude, this guy's a stud. Aaron Donald is a beast. I know a lot of people know what Aaron Donald looks like. This dude trains with knives, Nate. This gorilla is going to square up to him. Aaron Donald's going to hand check this gorilla. He's cooked. Number 2. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, we'll take that down. James Harrison. James Harrison, beast. I've been in a gym where James Harrison is working out. He is scary, okay? Coming off the board at number 3. Myles Garrett. I'm not a Myles Garrett guy, Nate. I'm not a Myles Garrett fan as a Pittsburgh Steelers guy, but I can't deny this dude's a specimen of an athlete. But just these 3. Nate, these 3 dudes.
Hold up.
I don't think these guys can beat the gorilla, but
now
they're going to give him some work. Just these 3 dudes alone.
Question.
Talk to me.
You said current guys. Are you counting James Harrison still as an outlet?
Yep.
Okay. That's what
James Harrison's still right now.
Okay. I like it so far.
Chris Jones.
Okay.
Chris Jones at the 4.
Like it.
Just a beast. You can kind of see where I'm going. These NFL defensive line guys. This is like so like I got a bunch of guys that I'm going to send in, Nate, at like the first 10. These are my cleanup hitters. These are my guys when the gorillas like got through like 15, 20. that the gorilla is gonna like be like, oh crap, like here we go. Trent Williams. This might be the home run hitter, Nate. This guy is like 6'6", 500 pounds, and can run faster than anyone.
I like it.
Beast, Trent Williams. Dexter Lawrence. Sexy
Love
Dexy.
this one.
Sexy Dexy. DeForest Buckner.
Okay. Love it.
Vita Vea.
I love that one.
All the entire Eagles defensive line.
That's good. So that's worth 4.
That's worth 4. Well, I listed them: Jalen Carter, Jordan
Okay.
Davis, Ty Robinson, Nolan Smith.
Bro, Jalen
The
Carter
Eagles-
would whoop him by
I'm
himself.
saying Eagles D line, the Eagles O line.
So you just got 9 Philadelphia Eagles. Perfect.
You see what they do on this tush push?
Yeah.
They alone, Nate, hear me out. We line up the Eagles O line in front of the gorilla. They
Perfect.
can take him to the ground easily. You see what they do on the tush push? I think we line up just the Eagles alone. They can get this gorilla to the ground, and then the dudes I got coming in later. We could do this. We could do this with 30.
All you got to do is poke the gorilla in the eye.
We'll get to that. Landon
Oh, no.
Dickerson, Cam Jurgens. This is just
Okay.
their offensive line. Lane Johnson. Okay. The Rock.
There we go.
A little bit washed.
The final boss.
I'm not confident in the wash. The Rock. I think he's one of the first guys I send out because the Rock, he's big, but I don't think that he's still got that dog in him to where like he might get whooped kind of quick, right?
He might have to go last. He's the
But I
final
think-
boss.
Correct, but I think he could maybe tire this gorilla out. Eddie Hall. You know Eddie
Okay.
Hall?
I
One of the
think, yeah.
strongest dudes ever, big power lifter. He fought 2 dudes at once and won. Eddie Hall is one of those guys. I'm sending him with Aaron Donald and those guys. Eddie Hall's
Okay.
a beast. John Jones.
Okay,
Here's my
yep.
guy. Nate, here's
Yep.
a few guys you'll start to see that when the gorilla is down, when the Eagles O-line and D-line takes this gorilla down to the ground, John Jones is coming in, kicking,
Yeah.
elbows, like easily, right? This is light work. Okay. John Jones has so when the Eagles D line, they got him on the ground. Here comes John Jones and Eddie Hall. They're gonna whoop him. Ray Lewis. Now I know I said that
Yeah,
he's
you
kinda
said no Ray
washed.
Lewis.
You know what? But then I started thinking, I think Ray Lewis, again, we sent him in. He's killed someone, Nate. He knows what it's like
Oh
to
my
murder.
gosh.
He knows what it's like to murder. So we get Ray Lewis in there, spice some things up. And I was also thinking,
Ooh.
Sue, dirty player, Nate. He's
I
going
like
to get
that
in
pick.
there. Maybe a few low blows to the gorilla, kick him while he's down. We got this is the second page. TJ Watt.
I was wondering.
First, this is our first white boy off the board that is not on the offensive line, right? I think he has the grit. Now, you can throw a guy like Will Compton in there to kind of, and we'll throw him in as 51 to pregame before we fight the gorilla to hype the boys up and be like, this is what we came. You ever see Will Compton's pregame hype up speeches?
Yep.
We need one of those before, and TJ Watt's going to feed off that pregame speech. Nick Bosa, another
Okay.
white boy.
Yep.
We got the white boy army. They're going to come in and they're going to kind of stay together a little bit. And
Yeah.
DK Metcalf.
Okay, that's good.
Specimen.
Good
Just
pick.
a specimen. And he's going to cook. Braun Strowman,
Perfect.
WWE guy. Nate.
Monster among man.
Huge. He's like 6'7". Bobby.
That's
Lashley.
perfect. And here's the thing with Bobby Lashley, UFC, MMA,
Exactly. He's
background.
shredded too, Nate. He's a dog.
He's a beast.
Usain Bolt, Nate.
Distraction.
See, I say distraction. Usain Bolt's gonna start running around the gorilla. People are acting like this gorilla went to Harvard. Nate, this gorilla doesn't know anything. He's gonna see Usain Bolt run around. He's not gonna know what's going on. And then I was also thinking of adding the dude from the Olympics this year who won, Noah Lyles. I think we
Okay,
send.
yep.
Hear me out. Let me drop a play here.
Drop the play.
Gorilla. Hold on. Gorilla. And then we're going to send Bolt. And who is the other dude I said?
Lyles.
Lyles. All right. So this is our formation we're starting off with. Gorilla, Lyles, and Bolt.
Got it.
We send
Hook it up.
Bolt. Right here. Look at this. We send them around, and then they just start running around the gorilla, Nate. They start running around the gorilla like this. He's going to be all tripping. And then we send the D line and the O line in.
Tush push.
We tush push the gorilla.
Listen,
We
imagine
tush push the gorilla.
you tush push Aaron Donald and James Harrison to the gorilla.
Saying. No, once he's on the ground, then we get our John Jones in there. Nate, we might not even need 50. Draymond Green and Mark Henry.
Oh, Mark Henry's a steal.
Mark Henry is going toe-to-toe with the
That's the
gorilla.
world's strongest man.
World's strongest man, Nate. And then Draymond Green is not going to be scared. He's going to trash talk the gorilla.
He's going to kick him in the nuts.
Exactly. Micah Parsons, just
Like
another
that.
dog. No
like
really
that.
explanation here needed for Micah. Just a dog.
Yep. That's good.
Roman Reigns, your
like that.
tribal chief, is going to come in here. A few Superman punches and a spear
course.
to the gorilla. Yep.
Love it.
Derrick Henry.
Love that.
I was going to leave Derrick Henry off because, Derrick Henry, we're just going to send him in kind of like a train. So, Nate, right here, when this is going in, here we go. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. Right at him. Bull rush.
Perfect.
Boom. And then after Derrick Henry hits this gorilla, maybe
I'm
send the D line in.
I'm wondering if you have someone else I'm thinking of along the lines of Derrick Henry.
Max Crosby.
I was waiting for Max Crosby. That's
We're
not
going to
who I'm
send him
thinking.
in with the TJ Watson and Nick Bosa's.
I like that pick.
Yeah, we like that. Fred Warner.
I like
another
that.
just dog. Roquan Smith.
I like
dog.
that.
Patrick Queen. Nate, these are the guys that are just gonna if the gorilla needs if the gorilla starts winning, we got kind of the Fred Warners, Roquan Smith. Okay, send these guys in right now. We'll send these guys in.
I'll say this about Patrick Queen. He might whiff a little bit.
He's gonna get the job, and then we got Big Cam Hayward. He might be a little old, but he's
That's
still
the
powerful.
leader. That's the leader.
Again, this is a locker room guy, and he's still a beast. Francis Ngannou. He's got the punch, Nate. He might be able to square up this gorilla and hit him with a few jabs. I like this pick out of Francis Ngannou. Tom Aspinall, another UFC heavyweight guy. He's fighting John Jones. Guy's a beast, arguably the best heavyweight in the world right now. Islam. This dude grew up wrestling bears, Nate. Bears.
Yeah.
Bear
you need.
gorilla.
That's all you
He's
need.
used to it. He's used to the animal instincts. He's gonna get to the gorilla's back and get him in one of them, a rear naked. Alex Pereira, another UFC guy. I kind of went off on the UFC guys right here. You can kind of tell where I start going. Kind of gets a little more categorical right here. Sean Strickland, just a badass at the end of the day. He's not really scared of anything. He's screwed up in the head, so he's just gonna go at this gorilla. And he's gonna go at the gorilla and really just he's not gonna care. Bo Nickel. Here's a sleeper for me. This is the guy that when the D line has him on the ground, Bo Nickel's gonna go for his eyes, Nate. He's real
All you
technical,
gotta do.
and he's gonna get the gorilla's eyes. He's gonna when Islam and him, they're wrestlers, great wrestlers. Gorilla's cooked. Zion Williamson.
You can just sit on him.
Zion's another beast. We can send him in with Derrick Henry for kind of that, charge torpedo sense. Giannis.
Okay. We're in the NBA portion now.
Yeah, NBA. I just started chucking names. This is kind of the end of the list. Steven Adams,
Perfect.
Dylan Brooks. That's it.
Perfect.
This is my list. Dylan Brooks and Draymond are going to go at the same time.
You
Steven
forgot
Adams
a
is
couple in
beast.
my head.
Here, go for it.
I'm going Saquon Barkley.
See, I thought about Saquon, but
Dude's
I think he's
thighs
too
are
small.
massive.
But he's too small, Nate. He's too small.
Bro, you run him and Derrick Henry at the same time.
Yeah.
You put him behind this Eagles O-line.
Sure.
Imagine that with the D-line included.
Sure.
I'm gonna go.
We can throw Saquon in there. We'll throw. So we have 51 right now. I think this is fit. I think this 50, Nate. I don't even think we need to get to 50. I think this Eagles cooked at 30.
You're
with my
forgetting
tactics.
one that I think could beat him by himself.
Who?
You brought up Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar.
I thought about Brock, but with these whole allegations going on right now, I don't think that he would be a good PR fit to go for this gorilla. When we, put this out for the media, Netflix will probably pick it up. I don't think that they're going to let Brock participate in this one, Nate. I don't.
I'm putting in my least favorite pirate right now, Tommy Pham.
Just get him in there. Throw him first.
Tommy Pham could probably beat someone up. Well, I mean, he has. He beat up a guy over fantasy football a couple years ago. He posted after the Pirates got in a fight with the Nationals. He posted a picture of his new AR on his Instagram. Then we all saw what he did to the Angels fan over the weekend. Tommy Pham he gives me the vibes of someone after baseball. He might get into some trouble. I hope not, but yeah, you could throw in some hockey guys in there too.
No, I'm not. I can't do it. It's not
You're
on
not
ice. Not on ice.
Ooh,
That's
a good point. That is a good point. Hey, what about Big Show?
Maybe he's too old. He's washed. So here's my game plan. This is the O line. This is the Eagles' offensive line. So when Usain Bolt and run around him, we send a charge with Derrick Henry, maybe Saquon in there, and then we bring in the defensive line and the offensive line. Push the gorilla. Nate, this gorilla is cooked. And then look at this. Then we have the rest of the 100. Just pull up on this gorilla.
Everyone around.
We don't even need 100. Nate, if I really sat here all day and I got you 100, cooked. This gorilla is cooked.
I like the list.
It's the best list you'll ever see. Let me zoom out here.
I need prime Randy Orton on that to give him an RKO. Still can. John Cena, Super Cena. Conor McGregor.
This is my good list right here.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao.
Floyd's small, Nate. I don't think that his punches are really going to do much to this gorilla.
Just get all the UFC and boxing guys in there at the same time.
Let me see if I can change this font so we can see it all in one. Oh, see, that's just way too small.
I can't see that.
Yeah. All right, this is way better. Yeah. This he's cooked, Nate.
Bro, I mean, you had the same.
The gorilla is so cooked.
I was thinking, like, the names everyone's been saying are Aaron Donald and James Harrison.
Gorilla's cooked.
Those are the two names.
It's a lock. Well, I mean, I don't think we even need any more people. I think this gorilla is straight up cooked right now with the roster I picked up and my scheme right here.
I like it.
This scheme, who's beating the gorilla? All these guys. The gorilla's not doing anything. Let me look up a picture of a gorilla. Hold on.
Isn't it like a silverback gorilla?
Silverback.
It depends how big this thing is, too. You got to provoke it. Thing is, you have to provoke this thing.
Yeah, no, he's already mad. Like, we drop him in, he's pissed off. Ooh. Man, he's cooked. I don't care. I don't care how big this dude looks.
Oh, I don't know. We might lose a couple troops on that one.
Yeah, that's why we send like Dylan Brooks and them in first. But if he gets past the offense, dude, the Eagles' offense, dude, he's getting tush pushed. He's getting tush pushed. They move. Dude, gorillas are like, what, 400, 500 pounds?
Oh, they're probably pushing that. Maybe.
And if he's on all fours like this, then he's cooked. I don't care. See, this is what worries me. This mouth. But I think that, like, Bo Nickel can get his head, can control his head, Nate. He can get back there and control his head. That's what I'm pretty sure about.
I'm looking up the weight of a silverback gorilla. Convert 270 kilograms.
300 and 500 pounds.
Okay.
Eagles are tush pushing that easily. Boy. Hold on. How much? Why am I in caps?
You're excited over this.
Aaron Donald's bench pressing the gorilla.
Jeez. I think we got it.
How much can Eddie Hall lift? 1,000 pounds. Eddie Hall can lift 1,000 pounds. He's pop-up power bombing the gorilla. Enough said. I think I've made my point.
Now here's an interesting note. Here's some what websites are saying. The men would probably win, but you'd probably lose a lot of people.
That's just 100 regular men, though. My roster that I just created, we might lose 6, 7 guys. Maybe 10. Maybe 10. We might lose like the Dylan Brooks, the Draymond, like But I think those guys are kind of coming in, and those guys are helping jump the gorilla.
Bro, give me Ja Morant.
Nah, I'm not taking Ja.
George Pickens.
Yeah, George Pickens. We could throw George Pickens in there. Honestly, yeah, he'd crash out. But mate, look, Eddie Hall can lift the gorilla. He can pick the gorilla up himself.
I like it.
It's cooked. That was a fun segment.
I like the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was that.
Oh goodness. So
We might have to clip that and put it on YouTube.
you know what? We might. Now we're gonna go from that into what we talked last on Friday. We got to cover the first round of the draft, and the whole thing was why is Shedeur Sanders still out there? What's going on? Well, let's give our thoughts of the draft. So all 7 rounds are done. I said I had a 99.9% chance he was going to go within the first 4 picks of day 2. I was wrong. He went on day 3 to the Cleveland Browns. So I got the team right. He was the first pick of, I think actually, he was the 6th pick, number 144 overall of the Cleveland Browns, who, which is kind of funny, they picked Dillon Gabriel, another quarterback, before Shedeur Sanders.
This is nuts.
On day 2, and I think it was in round 3. They picked Dillon Gabriel with the 94th overall pick, the 30th selection in round 3. Overall draft thoughts, I guess let's just start with Shedeur and the Browns. Like, what are they doing here? What is this QB room?
I mean, the Browns are going to be the Browns every single year, Nate. I mean, the only year I was ever like, worried about the Browns is the year that Baker was going off. They had Odell. That was the best. That was their year. That was their window. It's closed now, and they are going to be back to the first pick every year for a while because this quarterback room is a disgrace. You got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, shout out. You got Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Deshaun Massage Watson. You got 5 quarterbacks in your quarterback room.
You're going to have to cut a couple.
I think Joe Flacco starts.
Yeah,
probably.
I agree.
Kenny's going to be your QB2, and then probably I think Shedeur could beat out Dillon Gabriel, maybe QB3, and then someone's getting Deshaun Watson. You got to keep him on the roster.
Yeah,
like
the thing is, I kind of think Kenny might be the odd man out just because of this. Joe Flacco is your starter.
Correct.
I think he is the day 1 starter. He's the NFL vet.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is hurt, but they have so much money in on this guy. You can't just cut him. You have to hope and pray a team is dumb enough to trade for him and take all that money, or you have to pay all that money in dead cap. I think if there's the 2 QBs that have the biggest chance to be cut, because there's no way they're going to have 5 QBs on this roster. I don't think. One of them probably gets traded, and it might actually be Kenny Pickett. It just makes sense because why would you cut Dillon Gabriel, who you used a 3rd-round pick on?
Exactly.
And Shedeur Sanders, I guess you could hypothetically cut, but he was a 5th-round pick. So I feel like this Shedeur Sanders selection might have just been a pity pick by the Cleveland Browns to maybe just say, screw these other teams. Because when I was watching, this is like the first time I ever watched, like had the entire day 3 draft in the background. Yeah. I was working on some stuff. And right as it happened, there was Adam Schefter comes on NFL Network or ESPN, whatever one it was, and says the Eagles might pick Shedeur Sanders because they like him. And what happened later that round? They picked Kyle McCord because you kind of want because who's their backup right now? Tanner McKee and DTR?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have rather, if you're the Eagles right there, I think Shedeur with that coaching staff.
Well, the Eagles, so Shedeur was going to go. People thought Shedeur was going to go to the Eagles. Browns traded up.
That's where I was getting to.
The pick before the Eagles to take Shedeur Sanders because they thought. And so then the Eagles didn't take Shedeur and they took McCord, I think, a round later.
Yeah. So what happened was, like you said, as that was happening, the Eagles were about to come up, and then Schefter comes on and says, oh, the Browns just traded up. And everyone's like, this has to be Sanders. Yeah. And then you don't even have Roger Goodell saying his name. It's like the lady that does the picks too is like, oh, that means he really fell off into these rounds. You're kind of in the developmental type of rounds. You are the rounds where Roger Goodell's not there anymore. He probably flew back to New York. He's doing his thing. And yeah, I mean, it felt like a very forced draft pick. I don't know if that's just me. It's a very weird situation. Mel Kiper was losing his mind. He was insufferable.
Mel Kiper was glazing.
He was insufferable.
He was the woat.
Like, this dude, like this is the most anti-Mel Kiper. I don't really care about his takes because he's just a draft expert. He makes his big boards, and like he was flipping out on the other guy from College Game Day, one of the hosts. He was like, what do you mean you can't? What do you mean you can't understand? Like he's talking fast, thinking he's smart, like the Mel Kiper. He's like, oh yeah, well, Mel Kiper, yeah. Shedeur Sanders should have went this. Yeah, I'm correct. He gave the only team he gave an A+ to in the draft was the Cleveland Browns because they took a QB that he had ranked in the first round. It was funny after the combines, after the pro days, and especially after the draft interviews, because everyone is saying now that Shedeur Sanders flopped in these interviews. It was like our mock interviews at college. He like either didn't show up and got an automatic failure in the class, or he just showed up and didn't know what the heck he was doing. There's a couple tweets that came out from like draft like experts saying he kind of treated these visits like a recruiting trip and not a job interview. So that just tells me, and it was funny, literally a day after he drafted, there's a viral tweet that goes around. He was out at the club with some rapper.
No way.
In his Browns hat. This is literally the Johnny Manziel 2.0 of this draft. He's got drafted by the same team. Both of them dropped. I think Johnny Manziel might have went round 2, pick 1, or he was like the last pick of round 1, like 32, but they still went to the Browns. But this situation has just been weird. Like, I don't know what to believe. I'm slightly believing more so the fact that he just flopped in his interviews because he has the talent. Don't get me wrong. It can be there. And there might be like the whole like part of it is people are not wanting to deal with the father, Dion, because you know what primetime can bring. A lot of people are wondering if coaches and GMs are worried he might try to get into the organization. And then it was funny, the tweet came out from like 2018. Dion tweeted,
I saw that.
I wouldn't want to be any young QB and go to the Cleveland Browns. I would say that might have changed because at the same time, you probably could have said that about the Bills and the Jets. But like the Browns clearly have never been able to develop a QB. And this year, you know, the meme of like the Browns fans that have the jerseys with all the names. This year, if all things stand still, they might be able to add 3 names to that jersey. Kenny Pickett, if he's not traded. Dillon Gabriel, who in my opinion should be ahead of Shedeur on this chart that they will have because he was drafted before him. And then Shedeur Sanders. I get the pick. It's a good value pick. But I don't get why the team did it because they just drafted a QB 2 rounds ago in the 3rd with a top 100 pick. And Dillon Gabriel is a guy that probably could have been in the 6th round. So then, like you said, the repercussions of this is Kyle McCord goes to the Eagles, and then 3 picks later, the Steelers get Will Howard, which we'll get to in a second. But I guess this just shows, I mean, the QB class I was kind of like getting up on, but it just shows teams weren't really looking at this class as a QB heavy class, and they viewed it as a defensive heavy class, which it was. But yeah, this Shedeur Sanders pick, I guess my final takeaway before I throw it to you, it felt like a pity pick. It feels like not a great fit for him. And it felt like and you saw the reaction of Stefanski and their GM. They just sit there with straight faces like, oh, we just did that. What are we getting into? Did we really need to do that? I wonder what Dillon Gabriel's thinking right now. You just got drafted in the 3rd round, and then they drafted another rookie QB who was compared to be better than you in the mocks, in the, I guess, showcases during the regular season. Everyone was like, oh, Shedeur's better than Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel sucks. Dillon Gabriel's a 7th round pick. And out of nowhere, you're a 3rd round selection, and Shedeur Sanders is on your team too, who was drafted after you. I wonder how he feels. Shedeur Sanders seems not to give a crap. I mean, he's out partying the night after. I know his brother got undrafted free agent pickup by the Bucks, which was like good for him. But I mean, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, the whole Shedeur thing rubs me a weird way because one, I know I've said it on this program before. I don't think Shedeur Sanders was a 1st round quarterback, and he fell out of the 1st round. Do I think that Shedeur Sanders is where do you go, the 6th round?
5th.
Do I think he's a 5th round quarterback? No way. I think that there's an argument for why he could fall out of the 2nd round, but the 3rd round, I thought it was like, okay, this is a little bit too much. This dude should be in the 3rd round at the least. There's an argument for where he could be in the 1st round, but you have to look at every other side. didn't win any. He didn't win at Colorado. He did not win at Colorado. He had the Heisman on his team. Sure, he had a really bad offensive line. They were ranked at one point. Like, he didn't win. He made bad decisions. Sure, he led in completion percentage. That's what everyone always says. I don't care. I mean, he would sometimes his pocket presence. I know he had a bad offensive line, but there were just some plays that I saw and I was like, dude, like, what is he doing? I don't think he was as skilled of passer as some of these guys. Even the guy like Will Howard, I think, is a better passer. Dylan Gabriel, maybe. Dylan Gabriel was pretty good. Kyle McCord led the whole NCAA in passing yards.
Will Howard won a natty.
Yeah, like I really think that if you wipe off his last name, I don't think he would have had the coverage that he would have had. And sadly, I think that this is not a bad spot. If he really is what he claims to be, then he'll prove himself and he'll outwork these guys in camp, and it will be obvious that he should have been the first round pick. He'll use this as a chip on his shoulder to succeed in the NFL. I personally think that he is a shaky quarterback. I would like to see him with a real offensive line first. And then we'll see what his decision making is. He is a pocket passer. He doesn't move as good as a quarterback like Will Howard does. He doesn't move better than Jackson Dart, which people were saying that he was better than Jackson Dart. I don't think so. Did I want the Steelers to get him? Kinda, just because if it was Shedeur Sanders, and it would have been kind of cool for the media attention we would have had, good and bad. But this pick is not crazy to me, just because the craziest thing is that they already took Dylan Gabriel and they took Shedeur. Now, I don't know if they just didn't want the Eagles to get him, so they took him, which is what it kind of looked like with them trading up a pick before the Eagles.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Why would you care what the Eagles get if you're the
Browns?
Browns?
It is the weirdest thing because everyone else did expect Shedeur Sanders to go in the first round, and he went in the 5th round. It's the craziest fall I've ever seen. But when I do look at everything, I'm like, oh, well, maybe he isn't a first-round quarterback. Allegedly, he purposely bombed interviews to teams he did not want to go to.
Which I hate that.
And then, if other teams talk, Nate, they talk to each other. These guys are going to be like, yeah, Shedeur Sanders, we know he knows what a wing T is, and he, screwed it up, and we could tell it was on purpose just because he doesn't want to go here. You don't want a guy like that on your team at all. No. You just don't. Because Shedeur Sanders is the guy that will sit out for a contract. Shedeur Sanders is the guy that will, do all this stuff and bring down team morale. There was also rumors that, Shedeur Sanders was just bombing these interviews and stuff to where I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked he fell just because teams aren't going to want him because of that stuff.
And it just shows like multiple teams that needed a QB, like the Saints and Steelers, passed on him 3 or more times.
I think that also scared a lot of teams.
Like the Steelers, like the Saints picked Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round.
Also, apparently, a lot of NFL GMs told their draft teams, take him off your draft board. Apparently, that was like they told him, like, take him off your draft board. Like, don't even consider drafting him. I don't care.
I know he visited the Steelers.
Yeah.
But like he wasn't, in my opinion, worth a 1st-round pick. I don't think. I like what they did, and I guess
with Will Howard, we can kind of rope into the Steelers now.
Yeah. Do you have any more thoughts about the draft?
Not
like
really.
Any takeaways, steals?
Steals. I think the biggest steal is either going to be Malachi Starks to the Ravens. I think the Giants had an amazing draft, getting Jackson Dart and their first pick out of Penn State, Abdul Carter.
How about both Ohio State running backs going in the 2nd round? Judkins to the Browns, Henderson to Ohio State, the Patriots.
I think that Will Johnson falling.
Yeah.
He could be the steal of the draft. Very good for out of Michigan cornerback.
Went to Cardinals.
Yeah. Browns had a horrible draft. They took 2 quarterbacks and 2 running backs. What are we doing? The Browns traded back, and I thought for sure they would take Ashton Genty, 1 pick before the Browns, and then they didn't. I was like, what? But the Browns had I can't believe Mel Kiper gave them the A+. I thought they had one of the worst drafts.
Yeah. Going into what we were going to say, let's talk about the Steelers class. So if you're new here, we're Steelers fans. If you can't tell. So I'll read off the names and then we'll discuss. So we already kind of discussed Derek Carman, but we can get back to that today as well. So Derek Carman out of Oregon, number 1. They got their running back of the future, I guess, Caleb Johnson from Iowa.
Him.
You
He's
like
a
him?
stud. Yeah, he's a stud.
Jack Sawyer, I love that pick out of Ohio State edge rusher. Yeah, Y.A. Black, an Iowa defensive tackle. Pretty big guy, if you ask me. I think, let me see how big he is actually. He is 336, 6'6". This dude's pretty big. Will Howard, that's the QB they got in the 6th round. I think that's great value. Him and Kyle McCord were there. And I think when Kyle McCord got picked, I knew Will Howard, it was time, because you see the Kyle McCords of the world start to go. You got to start getting the QB now. And then the last 2 picks I don't really care for, because these are like, I like this take. I forget who said it, but it was like every NFL fans, when it comes to day 3 picks, like when it's the 4th through 7th round, everyone acts like these guys are absolute steals and they know nothing about them, in all honesty. These last 2 picks I've never heard of compared to the other guys. Carson Bruner out of Washington, Dante Kent out of Central Michigan. Call me a casual if you want. Linebacker in a corner. It was funny enough, the linebacker out of Washington is a Steelers scout's son.
Yeah, that was
story. Weird. Whenever I heard that, I was like, oh, are we getting Dino Tomlin, at least in the undrafted? He went to the Bucks, by the way, in an undrafted pickup. And I was like, darn it, I really wanted Dino Tomlin just for the fun. But yeah, that's your Steelers draft class. They did make a couple moves. It was an interesting trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. They traded back to get Y.A. Black, and then they got the Will Howard pick. That was the 9th overall in their round. It was from the Bears through the Seahawks pick that I think they got in return with that DK Metcalf thing. And then they also kind of acquired the Bruner pick in the 7th, and then again with the Dante Kent in the 7th. But other than that, I guess overall thoughts. Do we want to go pick by pick? We already do we have anything else to add about Derek Carman?
Yeah, I think he's a stud. I'm very happy with that pick.
Yeah, ESPN have him as the 2nd ranked defensive tackle in the league. Well, not the league, but draft. 15th overall prospect. I thought it was a good pick. When it happened, a lot of people were like, where's the QB? And I think now we know teams made a good decision avoiding a quarterback in the early rounds, especially with the value, I guess, people could find in the later rounds. But let's get to some of the guys we didn't get to talk about, the day 2 and day 3 guys. Caleb Johnson of Iowa, 6'1", 224 pounds. And interesting enough, Danny, let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 picks, Big Ten guys. I guess pure Big Ten guys, if you don't count Oregon and Washington. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 of which from OSU, 2 of which from Iowa. So let's talk about this first Iowa guy. Caleb Johnson, they have him as the 5th ranked running back taken in this draft, 61st overall prospect, picked in the 3rd round. What's your thoughts?
I mean, as a Najee Harris replacement, he runs kind of like Najee. He's not as fast as I would like, but he ran a 4.57, which that's not fast for a running back. But he did really run very well at Iowa, but so did Najee Harris at Alabama. Najee Harris was a beast at Alabama, and then came to the NFL. It's tough for a power back in the NFL these days, unless you're just crazy big. But
yeah, I'll say this about that combine time. He did have a couple long runs in college, so I don't really want to count that combine time as the determining factor if he's fast or slow. It could have just been a bad 40.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is 224 pounds, 6'1". What was Najee's height and weight? What is he currently?
Najee was the same as Derrick Henry.
What's that height? Najee's 6'2". Around 242 on Pro Football Reference. So about 20 pounds less than Najee, 1 inch shorter than Najee. Kind of the same look to a running back, however. It was interesting looking at some of his highlights. I mean, he looks like he could be a guy. I hope he is a guy, by the way. I hope he is a running back that they can use that is solid in the NFL, because I'm kind of wondering, you would presume Jaylen Warren's going to be the starter. You have a running back room built with now Warren, Johnson, I keep forgetting about Kenneth Gainwell, and they still, for some reason, have Cordell Patterson on the books. So you would presume Warren is running back 1, correct? Or would you actually give Johnson the opportunity?
Now, Warren will be running back 1.
Now, how many snaps, how many rushes a game do you think Johnson might be getting? Do you think he could even win the job if he has a great preseason?
He can't win the job this year, but Warren is only on a 1-year contract. So if this guy comes in and has some big runs and shows he's pretty good, I could see a team like the Broncos signing Jaylen Warren next year, and then we go with this kid.
Yeah, I think Warren still he's been getting like those tendered contracts. I don't think he's on the 5th-year option yet. I mean, so I guess with Harmon, did we very quick grade the Harmon pick, and then we'll grade Johnson, then we'll move on. So Harmon, I'm going to give that an A, just because I think it was a great need they needed.
Yeah.
So what are you going for Harmon?
I'll give it an A-.
Okay. And then Caleb Johnson, I'll go B, not B+, not B-. I think he can be solid.
Or B-.
You got a top 5 ranked running back in the 3rd round for that value. That's kind of the round you need to start taking those running backs. They didn't do the Najee Harris thing, pick one in the round 1, because I think there were only 2 running backs, in my opinion, worth a round 1 pick, Genty and Hampton. That's it. They could have got Hampton, I think, by the way, but they did not. Moving on, however.
They did not. When they took Harmon, I thought they were going to take Omari on Hampton for sure.
Yeah, there were rumors about that.
I thought it was him or Schroeder 100%, and then they went D-tackle.
See, like I was thinking it was going to be Harmon because for some reason, like the Steelers always find this guy they fall in love with during these interviews, and every single rumor is like Derek Harmon. They love Derek Harmon. He's at the top of the board if he's there. This pick I absolutely loved. Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State, edge rusher. The Steelers' edge rusher room, Danny, is now TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and Jack Sawyer.
That is tough.
That is tough. Jack Sawyer, 6'4", 260 out of Ohio State. What do you think about this?
Listen, Jack Sawyer had a great year at Ohio State, but again, this kid he's got grit. I like that out of him. He had a really big play in the playoffs against Texas or Tennessee. He's solid. He's solid. I'm on it. Like I don't think we needed help on the edge at all. But
do you think this means something with the TJ Watt contract?
I hope not.
I hope not too. ESPN has Jack Sawyer as the 19th ranked edge rusher. They got him in round 4. There were a lot of good edge rushers in this draft, by the way. But yeah, I like this pick. I'll give it a B+, just because I like that value for a Jack Sawyer. What about you?
B.
Okay, so we're kind of doing the same with Johnson and Sawyer. This is the next guy. Another Iowa guy in the black and yellow will stay in the black and yellow. They got another defensive tackle with their 5th pick. They traded down with the Chiefs to move 10 picks back. Y.A. Black, 6'6", 336 pounds, typical Iowa defensive beast, in my opinion. Sure. It's a team known for their defense. The 23rd ranked defensive tackle, according to ESPN. He goes in round 5, towards the end of the round. Before we give our grades, what are your thoughts on Y.A. Black?
I like this pick. This is an A for me. I think I watched this kid's tape. He is a stud.
Is this your steal?
No. My steal's our next pick.
Yeah, I was going to say. I actually, like, whenever it first was announced, I was like, I immediately need to look at this guy. Need to look at some tape, like see if I can find some highlights. And this dude looks like he could be like another beast to add to the defensive line, because you think Cam Hayward's going to be retiring pretty soon.
Yeah.
And you are adding Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, and you already got Keanu Benton, who I really like Keanu Benton still. So I'm hoping this could be the guy they kind of hoped. Remember DeMarvin Leal?
Yeah.
I think this is the guy that Steelers fans are hoping could be that type of guy, that type of later round pick that could become in like a stud. So I really like this pick of Y.A. Black. Do you have any? Were you going to pull something up?
Yeah, I'm pulling up our next pick here.
Okay, so as you pull it up, you gave him an A+.
Yeah.
I as well. I'm going to give this just an A, just because I mean he's a 5th round defensive tackle. Hopefully he pans out. I'm really excited though to see this guy in training camp, because I think this could be a guy for the Pittsburgh Steelers that screams Pittsburgh Steeler, just like Jack Sawyer. When Jack Sawyer was picked by the Steelers, I was like, he already looks like a Pittsburgh Steeler. But yeah, YA Black, we're both so far. This has been our favorite pick. Besides Harmon, this is my favorite pick. Next guy, Will Howard. You have some highlights to pull up, so we'll set that up. Here.
Stud.
Will Howard.
Listen, this is a guy who I thought was probably better than Kyle McCord in there, and just look at him. I mean, he could be the second best quarterback behind Jackson Dart after this, just because I think Dart might be a little bit better, but Howard is a dual threat, and people don't realize that he uses his legs. You see that right here, big run out of Will Howard. Yeah. He can use his legs, which is something that the Steelers have not had. He's a great pocket passer, and he can run the football as well when he has to as well. And he's made some really nice plays at Ohio State at the quarterback position. You'll see a nice throw here, back shoulder. That's a great throw. Won a national championship quarterback.
Coming off of a natty.
Yeah, we saw him face adversity a few times. You see another big run here from Will Howard. This is against Texas as well when he was on Kansas State. I really like this pick. I really like this pick. I think that he could start day one possibly if we don't get Aaron Rodgers.
Possibly.
He's a great look. This throw is disgusting. Look, goes out, brings everyone with him. Got him. Jeez. Like he's a stud, Nate. And I wanted Kyle McCord, but that's just because I Syracuse. That's the only reason. I was biased. I really like this Will Howard pick. I think he has a great arm, great passing, and again, he can do a few different things.
6'4", 236. A lot of people saying he has a Josh Allen type build.
Yeah, John Gruden.
Will he be as good as Josh Allen? Probably not. But I'll say this about Will Howard. I think if things work out right and the Steelers' plan is we're getting a QB next year, Will Howard's, I think, ceiling is a very good backup for this team. I think there is a slim chance he gets to play this year just because of this. I think they are more than likely getting Aaron Rodgers, I'd say, within a few weeks, it feels like. Mason Rudolph will probably start before Will Howard, probably because he just don't want to throw this guy into the Wolves, especially with all the pressure Steelers fans are going to give this guy to win. Yeah. Because everyone's acting like this is the savior of the franchise already. I'll say this about Will Howard, though. I really like the pick, especially at the value they got him. If this would have been Shedeur Sanders, I would have liked the pick too, because you got a guy that is, in my opinion, a third, maybe fourth round QB, probably fourth, in the sixth. I mean, I like this selection a lot. My initial grade after looking at stuff, I mean, I'm going to include, like, he just won a national championship. Yeah. He led Ohio State from the first round of the first ever college football playoff. I think they had to win 4 games, including a first round win against Oregon. Actually, not Oregon. It was Tennessee, but then Oregon.
The only qualm was his loss against Michigan this year. But
yeah, I mean, Michigan just owns them. Go blue. But I'll say this about Will Howard. I'm excited to see if he gets any opportunities with the Steelers. I'm hoping that they have learned from the Kenny Pickett mistakes and fiasco that they know how to develop a QB.
Yeah.
I hope. Because it makes me worried whenever Rooney said in his end of season conference, when the reporter asked, did you learn anything from the situation? They said no. I did not like that answer at all. Will Howard, I am going to give a grade of a B. I'm not going to go B minus, B plus, just because I think he's more than likely, if he plays, might play like 1 or 2 games, depending if the season's toast, they'll probably let him play. If there's an injury, like per se, if they get Rodgers, which he might miss 1 or 2 games if he gets hurt. Yeah. He'll play. I mean, it would go to Mason then. But I think if you're already out of the playoff race with an injured Rodgers, maybe, I mean, you do have Rudolph, but then I would say, screw it. I'm playing Will Howard. Just see what you got. Maybe help tank the draft pick. But I mean, Will Howard could also show, hey, I want to be that guy. Yeah. Him and Jack Sawyer, 2 Ohio State guys, keeping them together. I'm going B. I'm not really confident enough to go B plus yet or an A minus, just because I think his ceiling is very good backup. I don't think he's NFL starter, but like I said, I love the value of this pick. What about you?
Again, great value pick. Again, I thought that this was going to be Shedeur if he did fall. He did not. He didn't make it to this pick, but I think honestly the Steelers were waiting on Shedeur to go just so they could not have to be be like, oh yeah, we could have had Shedeur at our pick and we took a quarterback over Shedeur.
I like that.
But listen, I really do like this pick. I thought Will Howard was a great quarterback in college. Do I think I would have definitely rather taken a Jackson Dart? He was there. Would have loved Jackson Dart, I think, over Will Howard, but Derek Harmon might weigh out more. And if the Steelers know that it's going to be Rodgers, then this is a slam dunk.
Yeah.
If we get Aaron Rodgers, I love this pick even more, just because a guy like Will Howard to learn under Aaron Rodgers. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I can't deny that he is good at football. Last year, he was terrible at football, but he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And if he is a Pittsburgh Steeler, this is a slam dunk pick just because of a guy like Will Howard can learn under him. You know, Kenny Pickett didn't get to learn under Ben. He didn't.
No.
And Ben, apparently there were rumors that Ben Johnson actually didn't talk to Kenny or anything, but yeah, I don't know.
I'll say this. Like if they do get Rodgers, this could be, I mean, I'm not going to compare him to this guy, but I mean, if in that situation, it would be him teaching Jordan Love practically.
Correct.
They drafted Jordan Love, and I think there's rumors Rodgers already looking at houses, golf clubs, like country clubs and all that stuff here. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I don't want Rodgers. I don't really like him much, but he would give the Pittsburgh Steelers the most chances to win. Out of all the QBs available, he gives them way more chances to win. No offense to Mason Rudolph. I would rather have Aaron Rodgers as the starting QB. Just because the ceiling with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, could, and I mean keyword could, be one playoff win. That's what everyone wants in this city, a playoff win. If you're Mike Tomlin, you're already losing a bunch of the fan base. You know my already thoughts on him. You need a playoff win. You need one. Because you just saw a certain hockey team down the road finally fire their coach after a drought. I mean, he won 2 Stanley Cups, but then he hasn't won a playoff series, I think, it's been a long time. And it's coming off and now 3 seasons not making the playoffs. So there is a lot of pressure from the city because we all know the Pirates aren't going to do much. But there's pressure on the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, more so to perform, both from the media, of course, and just the entire fan base. And there's Steeler fans everywhere in this world. And the one thing they want the most is the playoff win. I mean, a Super Bowl, but you got to win a playoff game to get that. So I think Aaron Rodgers gives them the most chances to do that. I mean, and then the last 2 guys, Carson Bruner, Dante Kent, I don't really have much to add about those guys. Out of Washington, Central Michigan, these were the late round picks I actually know nothing about. The only thing I know about is Bruner's dad is a scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So overall, grade the draft class. I'll start with you.
The entire class as a whole, I give it a B.
I'm going B as well. I can't go A-. I can't go B-, B+. I think it's a solid class. They did what they needed to do. They filled needs. They went heavy on the defense, 2 defensive tackles, an edge rusher, and a linebacker, and a corner. They only picked 2 guys on the offensive side. And this feels like the first draft in a while they didn't pick a single wide receiver.
Well,
How about that?
Use that second round pick for DK. We got to.
That's a good value pick. I mean, he's already 27. I don't know, but I like that
stud. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, do we have any other thing we want to talk about for the draft?
Not at the top of my head. Let's cover this really quick. What's going on in Lakerland? I mean, the Cavs swept the Heat already. Yeah, please explain. This is the one time I picked the Lakers too. They're down 3-1 to the Timberwolves. See, you're not happy.
Let me pull up something. I got to remind you of something.
Lakers in 7. Is that what you're going to say? Oh, here we go.
Where's the picture?
Hey, a certain goat of yours, I don't think he scored a single point in the 4th quarter in the last game. Kind of disappeared.
He did it. LeBron came back from 3-1. LeBron came back from 3-1 once, Nate. He can do it again against a Timberwolves team that is not as good as the Lakers. The Lakers just need help. The starting five for the Lakers played the entire second half of basketball for the
Jeez.
Lakers. No subs came in. LeBron has. They finally got him help with Luka, but Luka went off, and there's no other help besides Luka. It's. I mean, you have no big men. There's no answer. Jackson Hayes is terrible. Austin Reeves is inconsistent at times. Rui Hachimura is needs to be struck by lightning. He sucks. He's literally horrible. Yeah, like Dorian Finney-Smith, again, inconsistent. The Wolves are just playing really good basketball. Anthony Edwards is just so on fire. He dropped 45. You couldn't, and he was making every shot from three. The Wolves were getting every whistle. It was unbelievable. Julius Randle was getting the SGA treatment with the whistle. Do I really, in my whole heart, believe that the Lakers can come back from 3-1? Yes, I do. LeBron's done it before. He can do it again. This team is stacked. Just like with two people, it is stacked. But then after that, the fall off is crazy. But I think that these two people, LeBron and Luka Doncic, can do it. They have grit. The Wolves are good though. I think if the Lakers do this, they can win the championship. But the Wolves are good, Nate. And what moving on from the Lakers already, what the Cavs did to the Heat, this was embarrassing. They beat them by like 70 points.
That was bad.
They beat them by like 55 or something like that points.
138 to 83
was belt.
In Miami.
Damian Lillard tore his Achilles. That sucks.
Yeah, can we talk about that very briefly?
He's 35. It's done.
If you're the Bucks, are you blowing up the team this offseason?
I'll never get rid of Giannis ever, but no.
Like, do you think there's thoughts of just rebuilding and restarting? Because like this Damian Lillard thing hasn't worked out.
I wouldn't say it hasn't worked out. I think it's just it's a tough. The NBA is just so stacked right now, but the super teams don't work. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of stars on one team. It's not going to cut it, but. The Lakers are the biggest story here. I mean, I thought they were a surefire to win the championship, at least get to the Western Conference Finals. I thought this could have been a sweep of the Timberwolves. It was Lakers in 5. Now it has to be Lakers in 7, which is.
Never thought you'd say that.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but it's possible. LeBron's done it before, but he's got to dial in here.
Yeah. Before we go, let's just get through the games tonight. We'll say there's 3 series all in the East that could end, and then we'd all have a confirmed Eastern Conference, actually. And then the West would be the only one left.
Yeah.
Here's the 4 games. The Magic and the Celtics. For some reason, the Magic are actually putting up a fight against the Celtics. They've actually been good games. I sadly, as a Magic fan, think it's over tonight. Tatum's just unstoppable. Paolo and Franz can't do everything. Good on the Magic for winning a game. They competed in game 4, but Celtics in 5 here. Or you going same?
Yeah, Celtics in 5.
Okay. We just talked Bucks Pacers. I think the Pacers finish it tonight.
I think the Bucks can get this game
without Dame.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have that continuing. I have that done. Pistons Knicks. I think the Pistons are going to win one in New York.
Nah, Knicks finished it at home tonight.
Okay, so we're going flip flop on that. And then Clippers Nuggets, the only one that's tied 2-2 tonight.
Yeah, I'll take
who
Clippers.
Wins that one?
I like the Clippers.
You like the Clippers? I'm gonna go Denver.
All right.
You can get a ticket for $56. Tickets as low as $27 for the Pacers game. How about that?
Wow, that's sad.
And then I guess tomorrow, let's just cover it really briefly. Warriors Rockets. Warriors can finish it tomorrow. Who do you got?
I'll have the Warriors finishing it. The Warriors are so good.
Rockets is a 2 seed, not lasting long. I'll say the Rockets win, but I think the Warriors are going to win it in 6. And then Lakers Timberwolves.
Please, LeBron.
I'm going to say the Lakers get one in LA. It would be really bad.
We need that win.
But I think the Timberwolves are going to win it in 6. And then other than that, that's all. That's all she wrote. Because the Cavs decided to finish basketball already.
And then I guess we'll see it from there. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, wait, the Thunder already won too.
Yeah,
Thunder. They destroyed the Grizzlies.
Yep.
John Morant said he could beat them if he was able. If he was in.
Lies. All right. Well, that'll probably do it for today.
What an episode!
Great episode. Talked about the Gorilla draft and a little bit of NBA. Well, that will do it. We'll see everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and
See
Make
you
sure to like,
Friday.
subscribe, tune in, like us on TikTok or Instagram or X or whatever. But yeah, we'll see you Friday.
See you later.
Adios.